Alright, how's it going, my peeps? This is another prediction game video. This time it's Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy, a Bound for Glory series match, simulation. The actual match, you're going to see it this Sunday at No Surrender, and it's the semifinals of the Bound for Glory series, the other match being James Storm versus Bully Ray. Personally, I'm looking forward to both those semifinal matches because both of those matches will determine, the actual finals, and I'm just really looking forward to No Surrender. It's kind of like the Royal Rumble. You don't have, I guess, a 30-man Royal Rumble, but you find out who's going to main event Bound for Glory and who's going to challenge for the championship. And potentially, whoever wins this Bound for Glory series, you could be looking at the next, TNA World Champion. So Jeff Hardy could be the next World Champion, Samoa Joe, well, whoever wins the finals, whatever. So this match, I know in the official prediction game video, I stated that I think Jeff Hardy's going to win this match and move on afterwards to the finals with James Storm and actually win that. But I could also see Samoa Joe winning. This could really go either way. This could go so many ways. Bully Ray could win instead of James Storm. Samoa Joe could win instead of Jeff Hardy. Who knows what could happen. We could even have a three-way match, although I would prefer a one-on-one match. Just because, they all fought for a couple months to be the #1 guy, the guy with the most points, and you got this tournament. It just makes sense to have just one guy win the Bound for Glory series. And that one guy, in my opinion, is going to be Jeff Hardy. Now, does that mean I necessarily want Jeff Hardy to be that one guy to win the Bound for Glory series? Not really, although I don't mind it, but I prefer Samoa Joe actually winning it. I'd also prefer Bully Ray, over Jeff Hardy. And actually, I don't know about James Storm. I don't know if I'd prefer James Storm over Jeff Hardy. If Rude was the champion, then yeah, okay. I would prefer James Storm to win it. But with Aries as the champion right now, it doesn't make as much sense to have James Storm win, but at the same time, really, anything can make sense. It's just a freaking tournament. Just because Rude is no longer the champion doesn't mean automatically James Storm is not winning this or should not win this. But yeah, if I have to put them in order, in an order of who I would prefer to see winning this to the one I'd least prefer to see winning this, in this current situation where Austin Aries as champion, then I would put #1, I would put probably Samoa Joe. Number 2 would be Bully Ray, the guy with the biggest calves in professional wrestling, or at least he says that. But really, Samoa Joe and Bully Ray, I could switch them up just because I really want, one of those two guys to win the Bound for Glory series. And number 3 would be Jeff Hardy, and number 4 would be James Storm. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want James Storm to win this at all, or, I'd be annoyed or find that boring or not interesting. No, actually, any of these 4 guys, I'd love to have a match with Austin Aries at Bound for Glory. I'm pretty sure it'd be a good match. It's just, I would prefer Samoa Joe, and then Bully Ray, and then Jeff, and then James Storm, and that in that order. And like I said, you could switch up, Bully Ray and Samoa Joe. And actually, the thing with Bully Ray and Samoa Joe is, I think, one of those two guys, or both guys, are a part of Aces and Eights. Bully Ray's my #1, suspicion, I guess, or guy I think that, he's going to be a part of Aces and Eights somehow. I don't think he's going to be the leader, but, he has some sort of alliance with them. And Samoa Joe, just because it's kind of unexpected, because he's never been the leader in a faction or anything like that. Then again, he could just have an alliance with Aces and Eights too and not be the leader, but I could actually see Samoa Joe being a part of Aces and Eights. Just because it's an unexpected choice, I guess. Nobody really expects Samoa Joe to, be a part of something like that. I know he was a part of Main Event Mafia in the past, that was a faction, but he was not the leader, and that type of faction is a completely different faction. Aces and Eights, they're kind of billing them as just some random, wrestlers or guys just trying to ruin the show and attacking people, and, not really a stable, trying to earn respect like the Main Event Mafia was. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, I think Samoa Joe could have some involvement with Aces and Eights. Bully Ray is like the #1 guy that like I'm pretty sure he's a part of Aces and Eights. Samoa Joe would be number 2. And if this whole Magnus and Samoa Joe thing, you know, isn't over with, then I don't think Samoa Joe is going to be a part of Aces and Eights. But if the whole Samoa Joe and Magnus thing is over, then I could see Samoa Joe being part of Aces and Eights. And speaking of Magnus, you know, one reason why I think Jeff Hardy would win this is interference from Magnus. You know, Magnus a couple weeks back attacked Samoa Joe with a steel chair on Impact. And then for a couple weeks, they didn't really mention it that much. They didn't really talk about it. We didn't see any, you know, physical, I guess, action or whatever from Samoa Joe and Magnus. And, you know, this week on Impact, you had Samoa Joe lose a match against Jeff Hardy. And then Magnus comes up to him and starts talking about how Samoa Joe kind of turned his back on him and ditched the team or ruined the team. And then he leaves and then comes back and attacks Samoa Joe from behind once again. So, you know, at that point I'm thinking, okay, I'm pretty damn sure right now that Magnus is going to interfere in the Samoa Joe versus Jeff Hardy match. Or maybe in a match, maybe in the finals. Maybe Samoa Joe moves on, you know, in this match, beats Jeff Hardy, then moves on to the finals, and Magnus costs him the match in the finals. But yeah, I was trying to say something here. About Magnus. I'm kind of confused though. What do they want to do with Magnus here? I mean, yes, he did attack Samoa Joe on Impact, but he also talked trash to RVD, and they, you know, attacked each other. So is Magnus going to start a feud with RVD because they do have a match, you know, this Sunday? Or is that just, you know, one-off feud, a one-off match, and after that it's over between the two? I don't know. So I guess we'll have to see at No Surrender if Magnus and the whole Magnus and RVD thing is, you know, a long-term thing, or if it's just for No Surrender. And if Magnus and Samoa Joe, I guess, continue their feud, or Magnus, you know, costs Samoa Joe something. And also, you know, speaking of costing people things, there's also Rude here. There's also Bobby Roode. And that's another thing that makes things interesting here. Because, you know, you've got Magnus and Rude. Both guys could interfere in, you know, James Storm or Samoa Joe's matches. You don't know. You know, it's really unpredictable here. So many factors that just make No Surrender really unpredictable when it comes to the Bound for Glory series. And I love it that way because you don't know what's gonna happen. You know, there's so many factors. Is Rude gonna interfere? Is Magnus gonna interfere? Samoa Joe gonna win this series? Is Jeff Hardy gonna win this series? You know, Rude is no longer the champion, but will James Storm still win the Bound for Glory series because he was the favorite going into the Bound for Glory series when it first started. But now, you know, you have this new champion, and, you know, is Bully Ray gonna win this and, you know, move on to a match with Austin Aries and then be revealed as either the leader of Aces and Eights or being a part of them or something like that. So yeah, No Surrender, it's definitely gonna be a cool ass pay-per-view. And to add to the unpredictability, you've got 3 baby faces and 1 heel in this semifinals. What that means is you could have practically any combination in the finals. You could have Samoa Joe versus Bully Ray, or Samoa Joe versus James Storm, or I guess Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray, or Jeff Hardy versus James Storm. Now, if let's say Jeff wasn't in the finals and Christopher Daniels was in the finals instead of him, and you had, you know, Christopher Daniels, James Storm, Samoa Joe, and who else? Who else is there? James Storm, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, yeah, and Bully Ray. So 2 heels and 2 baby faces. That would kind of eliminate the possibility of having a Bully Ray versus Christopher Daniels match in the finals because they're both heels. So that would have made it, you know, a little bit less, more predictable. Well, in this case, like I said, you can have any combination. It will still work because you can have faces versus faces, and you can have a face versus a heel. Well, yeah, it's kind of weird, right? That, you know, face versus face, that's kind of normal. You know, well, it's not something you see that often, but, you know, it's a pretty normal occurrence, I guess. It's not out of the ordinary. but heel versus heel, that's a rare occurrence. You don't see that often, so yeah. And, you know, to talk about Jeff Hardy here, another reason why I think Jeff Hardy's winning this semi-final match and moving on to face James Storm is that James Storm and Jeff Hardy had a match on Impact a couple weeks back. And it was a good match, a good back and forth match between James Storm, the top guy in the Bound for Glory series, and Jeff Hardy. I don't know how many points he had, you know, at that time. And Jeff Hardy won the match. And for some reason, I have a feeling they're going to have that rematch at No Surrender. And if they do have that rematch, really, it could be Jeff Hardy winning this a second time, or it could be James Storm. I could see, you know, in that final match, if it's Jeff Hardy versus James Storm, Roode comes out, costs James Storm that final match, and they have a match at Bound for Glory, some no DQ match or something like that, or a steel cage match maybe, and Jeff wins. Or I could also see James Storm finally winning, you know, that rematch against Jeff Hardy at No Surrender when it really counts, and having a match against Austin Aries. But, you know, that's if Jeff versus James Storm happens in the finals. Like I said, anything can happen, and for that reason, I'm really looking forward to No Surrender, and I'll definitely be watching. But, I'm still going with Jeff Hardy winning this semi-final match. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can click that like button. I really appreciate it, and I'm out. See ya.